Dolly zoom. Let's go. Oh my goodness, I wasn't recording. I just nailed the intro and didn't record it. Idiot. All right, let's do it again. What's up guys, my name's Ray. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today we're going to be talking about dolly zoom. And before we do, if you're new here, please consider hitting the subscribe button as it really helps the channel grow. And I'm super thankful for each and every one of you guys. And if you do like the video, perhaps consider clicking like on the video. What's dolly zoom? Well, I'm glad you asked because I've got all the answers. Well, some of them. Before we learn how, let's take a peek at some dolly zoom shots. Some famous ones and some not so famous ones. So as you can see from those examples, the faster that you do them, the more dramatic it is, and it gives us this out of body sort of experience where the background's moving really quickly and our subject's staying quite still and the center of that focus. Alternatively, if you do it much slower, it's a much more subtle effect, but it is still noticeable. All right, so now you've seen the shots, let's go learn how we do this. So in cinema, basically a dolly is a wheeled cart. It can be used on flat surfaces or on tracks. So basically like a human-sized slider. On that dolly, you're gonna have a camera operator and, surprisingly enough, a camera. Go figure. In this instance, our dolly movement is gonna be pretty straightforward. It's gonna be straight toward or straight away from our subject. And to get that manipulation, we're gonna do the opposite with our zoom lens. So if we're going toward our subject, so we're getting closer, we're going to zoom our lens out to the widest point, and that's going to give us that trippy effect. This looks best when we have a subject in the dead center of the image to really draw our attention to it, but it can be done without that, and it's just a little bit more subtle. As you've probably already guessed, the reverse will give you the opposite effect. If we pull away from our subject while zooming out to the most telephoto, it's really going to isolate our subject and kind of pull that background around as well. Zooming in on the lens is really going to isolate the subject, whereas as we go out, it's going to give that real trippy, like the backgrounds just kind of come from nowhere sort of feel. This is super simple to do on a small scale without a slider or a dolly itself. Just use your motion in and out as you zoom out and in. It's that simple. Just think whatever you're doing with the camera, do the opposite with your zoom. So if you're moving toward it, zoom away from it, and if you're moving away from it, zoom toward it. Pretty simple. Now you can always fake this. So if all your lenses are prime lenses and you have a drone which is not the Mavic 2 zoom, then this is for you. It's super simple and I'll show you right now. I personally use Final Cut Pro 10 and it doesn't matter what software you use because all the principles are the exact same. What you're gonna need is some footage that moves towards something or away from something. And ideally you'd have a subject dead center to have the most effective look. Our footage is going to be moving towards something. So if your footage moves away from something, just mirror this whole process and it'll work out just fine. So because we're zooming out with our clip, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to the first frame of our clip and we're gonna increase the scale to our desired amount. Now, the higher we go with this number, the more dramatic our zoom effect's gonna be and the more it's gonna pull around. So choose this wisely. If you want it subtle, don't go as high. If you want it really dramatic, really crank that number. By using trial and error, you'll get the best results. Now remember, the higher you go, you are actually cropping out resolution. So depending on what you've shot it in, you may not want to go too far, but if you're shot in 4K or 8K, if you've got a Canon R5 or something like that, you can really crank that number to really whatever you want. Well, maybe not quite whatever you want. So once you've chosen your desired crop or scale level, go ahead and click this icon. This is the keyframe icon. And I might actually need to make a video on keyframes at some point. So if you do want that, hit me up in the comments down below and I'll get cracking on that for you. Dot points on keyframes. Basically, they're keyframes in which you've made changes to the footage. And the software will automatically ease those changes between keyframes 1 and 2, and so on and so on. So now that we've set our first keyframe, go to the final frame of this clip and change the scale to 100%. Or if you're doing it the other way, choose your desired crop level. You should see the keyframes turn yellow. That's to indicate you've made a change and it's now added a new keyframe for you automatically. Once you've done all this, take your playhead back to the start, play it through, and you should have a dolly zoom. And if you didn't, start this video again because you might have done something wrong. Alright fools, that has been another educational bomb dropped. And speaking of education, go listen to The College Dropout by Kanye West. Alright mother lovers, thanks so much for sticking around to the end. My name's Jed Debre. I've been very appreciative of your time. Give it a big fat thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one. Bye! My lens has so many bloody palm prints on it from doing this sign off like 10 times. Never give it a clean. Bye. My voice is lost because I went to the football yesterday.